Back in 2001, it looked like a very uneven battle. Guerrilla fighters, equipped largely with old weapons and homemade bombs, taking on the largest, best-equipped military in the world with its satellite technology, state-of-the-art fighter aircraft, helicopter gunships, cruise missiles and deadly unmanned drones. But the Afghans have fought another ill-matched battle once before, and they won.
The methods of war and the technology has changed greatly since the 1980s, but some experts still believe the Americans are making many of the same mistakes that the Soviets did.
The fighters of the Taliban are very much like the Mujahideen. Some are even the same men. The vast majority are battle-hardened locals with local knowledge of the difficult terrain and the complex tribal structures. NATO soldiers do tours of a maximum of 1 year. They don't speak the language, and 9 years on, they're still struggling to understand their enemies and why they are fighting. The air power and the massive firepower it brings with it are blunt instruments. The Americans, like the Russians before them, have repeatedly killed civilians, turning the public against them. The Taliban have the advantage, just as their predecessors did, of the more than 2,000-kilometre-long porous border with Pakistan, a place to rest and regroup. They use exactly the same mountain trails to cross and to bring in their ammunition. For the Taliban, the element of surprise is crucial. In the 1980s, the Soviets faced ambush in remote areas. Now the Taliban use cheap electronics, remote controls, mobile phones and explosives made from fertilizer to inflict daily casualties on the foreigners. For many deeply conservative Afghans, the system of government is a problem too. Democracy, just like communism before it, is not the traditional system. The Americans, like the Russians, opted for a centralized government and army. Many reject the interference of Kabul in their local affairs. All the while, the US trains soldiers and hands out weapons. The Soviets did the same, and when they pulled out, it led to a civil war. James Bays, Al Jazeera, southern Afghanistan.